Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. So in this video I wanted to recap my performance on the pay to win account for the Novik Ravaged run. So overall we ended up with a score of 499 billion damage, which I'm pretty proud of because I was actually targeting like 497 billion damage, but then the granny team came out for the Sylvan Squad, which gave me like a 1 billion damage boost, and then I was getting close to 499 billion and I managed to hit it in the end. I'm going to show you the teams I ran because even though there's not much time in the Novik Ravaged run boss left, maybe this can be beneficial for some people. But really what I want to talk about in this video is this Ravaged run, and actually the whole season has been a more challenging season compared to previous ones because each person's account has like sort of a different optimal charm setup, and there's also a lot of RNG in these bosses. So even as of right now, at the end of the Ravaged run, I cannot tell you for sure what is the optimal charm lineup in order to maximize your score. I don't know which is like the lineup to get the highest potential damage. I don't know which is the lineup to get the most consistent runs. I kind of have an idea and I'm going to talk about it, but like for sure there's no clear answer, and like that kind of like upsets me because I wish there were a clear answer. I always like try to seek out like exactly a solution to every problem, but like here it's basically almost unsolvable. And now as for the top overall score, and obviously not in this district because we're rank 1, but people have it over 507 billion damage combined score in this Novik Ravaged, which is absolutely insane. Honestly, I don't even fully understand how that is possible, and it's a combination of RNG as well as a maxed out account as well as a certain charm setup. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin breaking down the team formations I ran and the charm setup, which did the best for me. So for the Dauntless Squad, 111 billion, I think it was actually 111.7 or so billion damage, like a high 111 billion basically was my top score. And I'm pretty impressed with that because like we did it with the Supreme plus Natsu, we did it with the Supreme plus +10 Kruger, which other people have Paragon 4 maxed out, both of them, and then they're able to get up to potentially 113 billion damage. So this team does have a lot of RNG. Team number 2 is pretty consistent. It's always going to be doing around about the same. These are the charm setup, by the way. I'll just quickly go through all 3 of them. Overloaded and Gale. And then for team number 1, this is going to be the team formation. And this one has the RNG because basically Athalia is bouncing around the entire fight and you want her to be within the Shakira buff aura for as long as possible. And that is how you get your maximum score. But yeah, I was never able to hit 112 billion damage. Like I said, maybe if we had like Kruger higher upgraded, Natsu higher Paragon, potentially it would have been possible. But these were just the charms that I was running basically, as you can see here, and with the harmonic spell. So overall 111 high 111 billion damage I was impressed with that, and that was basically the top score I was able to achieve. For the Immortal Squad, the top score I was able to get was a high 127 billion, so like close to 128 billion. And it was going to be with this team setup. And again, I'm pretty impressed with it because like our Velka is +10 Supreme plus, Hodgkin is Supreme plus +10. So like compared to people who have like, max Paragon 4, +20 exclusive equipment, definitely we were like at a disadvantage, but still ending up to get a close to 128 billion damage is really good. And now as for this team, again, the team number 1 is a high RNG team. Team number 2 doesn't have that much RNG. And then these are going to be the charms that I ran, basically Bear, Arcane, and Butcher onto Shmira with the Blade Summon artifact. And for the team number 1, this is the high RNG team. Like, you'll have to do multiple runs with this healing spell. And when you get lucky, then Talene is surviving for most of the fight. And you're going to get off your maximum damage. The charms are basically, as you see here, I ran Eagle on Nero, Insight onto Ludovic, Arcane, Blast, and Sorcery. But again, these were the charms which I thought were the most consistent. Not necessarily are these the charms to go for your absolute maximum potential damage, but I don't know, I usually choose consistency and then try to get your maximum score of like a relatively consistent run, and that's basically what I did, and it worked out. Like overall, like we said, we did get a good score for the level of upgrades we have on this account, but we maybe we weren't shooting for the moon, like with the people who are going for that absolute top score of all players across all different servers and districts. They have to go for like a higher even RNG version, but then there's higher return when you actually manage to hit that. But basically, this is what I ran for Immortal. For Sylvan, in the end, I ended up going with the Granny team, and that was my top scoring. We hit, I don't know exactly how high it was, but again, I suspect it is somewhat close to 123 billion damage, but 122 point something basically. And I really wish they would give us at least one decimal point in the billion damage ranges, because that makes you more clear as to exactly where you're lying, because there's a big difference between 122.1 and 122.9, especially in these Ravage Run at the end of the season. Anyway, this was the team that did the best for me. As for RNG of this team, yeah, the RNG is a little bit bad for both teams. Both of them need good RNG for, like, for example, this entire team 2 to survive the whole fight. And these are the charms, by the way. Hewen, I ran Insight the whole time. However, the iron wall charms, which are the tank, basically yellow charms, those are apparently the best, but I didn't have enough crafting materials left over in the end to even craft them. This team, second team, does have RNG, definitely more than the other two, Immortal Squad and Dauntless Squad, which we talked about. Those are really low RNG. Team number 2 is pretty consistent. This one is a bit of a RNG team number 2, and our team number 1 is also a bit of RNG, but not as bad RNG in my opinion as, for example, the other teams we just showed you. And this was the ultimate overall top team formation with Granny and Lenya on the Sylvan, and I got my highest score when I was running the Sturdy Charms onto Granny. However, other people have reported their highest score when they ran Sorcery Charms onto Granny. So those are the two I would basically try. And other than that, I had the Balanced onto Rainier, Butcher onto Lenya, Sorcery on Lily May, and Sorcery on the Twins. And yeah, so now, as for Granny versus Almas, because you can also run this team with Almas rather than Granny, and that was the previous best team. And that can still be the best if your Lenya is not highly invested. So for example, if you have like a Supreme plus 10 exclusive equipment Lenya, but on the other hand, you have like a Paragon 3 plus 25 exclusive equipment Lily May, then maybe the Almas version is better. Basically, Granny is going to increase the damage of Lenya because it provides more defense shred onto the boss to increase Lenya's damage output. But because you're not going to have Almas to give charms onto the Lily May, basically that means you're going to lose out on Lily May damage. So it's like kind of trade-off, and it depends how invested your heroes are. But definitely if you had like a plus 15 Lenya, there's no question the Granny team is better. If you have a plus 10 Lenya, that's kind of when you will have to try both and see which one does better for you. But I think they're about tied at that point. Yeah, but then this was the overall best team I was able to run. I showed you the charms. Not much. Yeah, you can't expect much more from Sylvan Squad. Basically, I hit close to like the maximum of what people were hitting. The overall top score I saw was 124 billion damage, and we got probably close to 123 billion damage. Now, finally, Aurora Squad. This is the most painful one. And honestly, yeah, I don't like the Aurora Squad. So what I did, you're going to see here and look at my scores and be like, whoa, how did you manage to get such a consistently performing Aurora Squad team? Because usually the variance of this team is wild. So I went for a more conservative strategy, and because of that, I wasn't able to hit like insane damage numbers. Like the people who hit 140 billion damage, that's not even possible with this account because like we not maxed out Paragon 4 Sinbad and Phase not plus 15 and things like that. But basically I wasn't going for the shoot for the moon strategy. I was going for consistently decently performing, and that worked out for me because then at least I got a decent score. My top score was 136 billion damage. I don't know exactly how much it was, but I do suspect it would be over 136.5 billion damage, probably over that. And this was basically with this team. I'll show you the charm lineup. And my overall top score was actually with the Balance charms onto Harok, but very close to the Butcher charms onto Harok. So basically, Butcher or Balance onto Harok for this specific team and charm lineup that I ran hardly made any difference. So you can go for Butcher or Balance, whichever one you have refined, basically. And then Sonya with the Arcane charms. Now, this was the key thing. To increase the consistency of this team, I had to break and have no set effect onto Merrily. If I was running the overloaded charms, Merrily's damage would be high, but she would die prematurely. Even Faye would die prematurely due to the ramping up of the damage of the boss. And so I could only get consistent runs when I ran no set effect active onto the Merrily. And so that's what I did. And Faye, I couldn't even craft the recovering charms, but apparently recovering charms are better. I couldn't even test that, but wizard charms worked fine for me, and those were the ones I ran, and sorcery charms onto Fresto. Basically, an illusion right up in the front. This was my most consistent, high-scoring team, and in the end, I did hit 136 point probably 5 billion damage or higher, which is honestly For this level of upgrades, it is pretty decent. It is, and especially due to the fact that this is pretty consistently hitting 136 billion damage plus. I do like this team a lot. In Team number 2, I went for the consistent version rather than the high RNG version. The high RNG version is basically running Harmonic Spell rather than the Soulbind. But Soulbind with Hugin and Sinbad being linked together, that is the most consistent. Basically, always, almost every run you do, you're going to get a solid score here. And now, this I'm going to tell you, I managed to get the best scores when I ran this charm setup. Mystic onto Hugin, the Healer onto Corrin, and then the Gale onto Sinbad. Like this I swapped up on like maybe yesterday, like one of the last 2 days of the Ravaged Rum Ultimate Siege. And then I was consistently getting better scores with my team number 2. Like when you look at it here and you add up the damage, I'm getting around 62 billion damage, whereas before making the swap and like when I had blast charms onto Hugin and insight onto Corrin, for whatever reason I was getting like 1 billion damage lower, like 61 billion damage added up. Here I'm getting 62 billion damage added up. So basically that was my ultimate decision to just go for like this, and this is really safe. Basically when you run Soulbind on this team with this formation, you're consistently going to get a good score, and then if you run this charm lineup, is kind of consistently getting my top score. And then it's just about the RNG of team number 1, and like to minimize the RNG, I ran no set of charms onto Merrily, and the other heroes just as they are. And so it was consistent, but not necessarily, highest potential. Like basically, you're making a trade-off, you're going for consistency, but you don't have that potential to hit like 138, 139 billion damage, which I could potentially hit if somehow I ran Overlord charms onto Merrily, and by some amazing RNG, Merrily and Faye were able to survive for the whole fight, then I could hit, I'm sure, 138 or more billion damage. But I've tried that so many times that I just gave up, and I'm like, I'm just going for consistency and trying to get a bit of a boost to my record, and that is how I ultimately got the 499 billion damage. But yeah, so hopefully this video is a bit helpful, at least interesting for you guys. But definitely this season was full of RNG, full of charm customization, individual to your account, based on the timing of everything, that like I can't even, like, for example, just because this works for my account doesn't necessarily mean this charm lineup and formations are going to work for everyone's account. So that is problematic for me, and especially because I like to make videos telling you, okay, this is the best team, this is the best charm lineup, these are the charms you have to refine, and then, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to 3, basically. But here it's kind of like 1 is an arbitrary, ambiguous answer as to your optimal setup, and you just have to do a bit of experimentation of your own. And I even had to do myself. I did a bunch of experimentation, and these are ultimately what I decided on the end, but not necessarily are these actually even the best for me. But I went with these. And feel free to share your thoughts and score on Novik Ravaged in the comment section down below. But if you guys are not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please smash that subscribe button. Also, feel free to join my AFK Journey Discord server. There's a link to that in the description of this video. And finally, if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Farlight store. There's a link to that in the description of this video and as a pinned comment. And this is the best way you can support me at no extra cost to you and get 5% bonus Dragon Crystals when making a purchase on the Farlight store. But thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.